Well, I said I was going to do something different for this week's HBM's Crypto Corner, and I'm doing just that. So, welcome to this special edition, which is going to focus on different Bigfoot and Yeti figures over the years. So, let's get this party started. A lot of us who grew up in the 70s remember the $6 million man. And I know we also remember Andre the Giant and Ted Cassidy as the bionic Bigfoot on that show. Well, this blog, Space 1970, has a ranking of some of the coolest toys from that era. The third coolest toy was the bionic Bigfoot figure. I never owned this figure, and I kind of wish I had. I did have the Steve Austin figure with the space capsule slash operating table, which was a very cool device. And Steve Austin you could actually look through the back of his eye and sort of simulate his bionic eye, which was a very cool feature of that particular toy. Now, from what I understand, this toy doesn't really have too many special features other than the chest plate pops off, and Steve Austin can grab one part of the bionic Bigfoot and lift it above his head. That's really the only special feature about this Bigfoot. But this figure is highly collectible today and highly sought out. And it can fetch massive profits, like on eBay and things like that. So it's a very valuable and profitable figure, as it were. Nearly a decade ago, Cryptomundo focused on different cryptozoological figures. Article written by Craig Woolheater. This is the Mezco Bigfoot. I actually have this particular figure. And their Jersey Devil. And their Mothman. And there was a proposed Loch Ness Monster which never came to fruition. Then there is the Accoutrements Bigfoot figure. This is the original figure, which had the foot pads on it that you could actually make footprints with, because it came with an ink pad. And then there were these, the legendary monsters. You had, now this figure, that's the Momo, Missouri Monster. And you have the Chupacabra, the Mothman, and the Jersey Devil. Which this would have been a very interesting line had it been released. It was actually part of a Kickstarter campaign, but unfortunately it just didn't pan out. But these would have been some amazing figures. Now, Craig Woolheater actually has this figure because I've seen him with it in his possession. So he actually has this particular figure, the Momo, the Missouri Monster. But this would have been a very interesting line if it had been released. Then you have these figures, or figurines actually, from Shadowbox Myths and Legends. They have the Bigfoot and the Yeti. This is what you might call a capsulized history of different cryptozoological figures from about the 90s up to circa 2006. Bigfoot toys of the 1970s. And these are some good looking figures. Look at this. You got a Yeti, which is from Marx, the toy company. Even Amigo style Abominable Snowman, Famous Monsters of Legend. Although it looks more like a space alien than a Yeti. Even Evel Knievel got in on the action. But I'm not sure if that's supposed to be a Yeti or a Sasquatch. I think it is a Yeti. Even G.I. Joe, the search for the abominable snowman, you had kind of a smaller creature right here. And yes, here is the bionic Bigfoot from $6 Million Man. He even got in a drag race with Steve Austin, as you can see. And this is the figurine that came with the racer. Here's an old Bigfoot costume. So yeah, there were some very interesting items that were released pertaining to our favorite hairy hominid or hominoid back in the 70s. Of course, those are just a few examples. Well, on this blog, it's I love the Yeti, so you don't have to. Unfortunately, there are no photographs. All the photographs seem to be missing from this article of any Yeti toys. But there have been a few that have been released over the years. There have been, and this is a blog circa 2006 also. There have actually been several toys released of the Bumble from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. As we all know, Bumbles bounce. So, and there's a newer Yeti figure that's been released by Creature Replica. And I'll be talking about Creature Replica in a little bit. But, yeah, this is... I wish there were photos of these Yeti figures and things like that to show you. But, this link tells you all about some of the different Yeti toys that have been released over the years. The 7 best Bigfoot figures. Now this was written in 2012. You had the Marvel Legends Sasquatch, the Accoutrements Bigfoot, Bigfoot 1. These were from Jammer Bigfoot 1. Look, there's a silverback Sasquatch, a mossy green one, and a brown one with green highlights. Here is the Mezco Bigfoot. G.I. Joe Search for the Sasquatch. Bigfoot the Monster, which was released by Fisher-Price. Imaginext. And of course, yes, the $6 Million Man Bigfoot. Very good representative list, I have to say. And of course, I mentioned Creature Replica earlier. Here it is. Here's the website. Here are the figures that are currently in the line. You have the North American Sasquatch, the Himalayan Yeti, the Horror Hound, and the Louisiana Rougarou. Now these are currently in stock, and Jean St. Jean, the sculptor of these excellent figures, is going to be releasing more. There's going to be new ones coming out before too long. Let's just say I have some inside information on some new ones that'll be released in the not too distant future. I can't say much right now, but I have inside information. We'll just put it that way. And you can order, of course, these figures from Creature Replica. They're actually cheaper to order from there than they are from Amazon or anywhere else. I have, hopefully, a Sasquatch and a Yeti on their way to me. I'm looking forward to receiving them, because I will be reviewing them individually. And those reviews will be written up, and they'll be here on my YouTube channel as well. I've also suggested to the proprietor of ActionFigureResource.com, I asked him if he wouldn't mind having reviews of the two figures, and he said he'd be delighted. He said it'd be great. So I'm going to be writing reviews for both of those for his online magazine, which, by the way, is completely free, folks. The website is actionfigureresource.com. Check them out. They got some good stuff on there, including some lengthy articles on Star Wars figures, the classic Star Wars figures. So, if you're like me and you remember the classic Kenner line, you'll be pleasantly surprised by the stuff he has on his site about that line. And that's going to do it for this special edition of HBM's Crypto-Corner for this week. We hope you enjoyed it. Next week we will get back to the regular news items. Oh, and by the way, finding Bigfoot the last few weeks has been pretty good. A little bit of hit and miss here and there. Last week's I thought was really good. This upcoming week, they're going to be back in Oregon. I think it's the 4th episode they've shot in Oregon. So we'll have hopefully more news about finding Bigfoot on next week's show. In the meantime, you can check out our reviews of Finding Bigfoot on the Looking for Bigfoot News Hour, youtube.com/user/Skinner1472. And that's it for this week, and we want to thank you very much for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed this special episode. And until then, y'all be good or be good at it.